The story starts with a boy named Shinya, who is walking alone at night, absorbed in his smartphone. He suddenly encounters a chaotic scene. People fleeing from a store. Two frightened girls collide with him and fall. Shinya sees a criminal behind them, brandishing a knife with murderous intent. Instinctively, he tries to escape, but the girls are paralyzed by fear. As the criminal advances, Shinya decides to act. He rushes at the assailant, pushing him to the ground and urges the girls to flee. Unfortunately, Shinya gets stabbed, and the criminal flees. The girls, tearful, check on him. Despite his injury, Shinya feels content for saving them, though he regrets causing their tears. Shinya later awakens in a luxurious room, unsure if it's a hospital. A maid addresses him as Master Kane, and another woman embraces him, asking if he recognizes his mother. Shinya is bewildered. He doesn't know these people. Seeing his reflection, he realizes he's reincarnated. He learns that he had been unconscious for a week due to fever. His mother, concerned, goes to prepare food. As he examines his new child-sized form, he feels both curious and embarrassed when caught by the maid. She informs him about his new life. His name is Kane. He's 3 years old. His father is Garm, a high-ranking noble with a personal army, and his mother is Sarah, the second wife. He has an older sister, Rain, and 2 half-brothers from Garm's first wife, Maria. Intrigued by the new world, Shinya, now Kane, discovers it teems with magic and adventurers. Eager to explore these mysteries, he resolves to embrace his new life, having been a lonely orphan in his past one. His parents are puzzled by his sudden interest in studying, but Garm clarifies that Kane must carve his own path to success. Enthralled by magic, Kane begins reading about it and the kingdom's history. Rain tells him he's not ready for magic until he's baptized at 5. Secretly, Kane practices magic alone. 2 years later, the day of Kane's baptism arrives. Dressed cutely, he steps into the outside world, fascinated by its medieval charm. He inquires about magic from Rain, who shows him her status and reveals her level 2 protection by the god of magic. At the temple, dedicated to 7 pillar gods, Kane's ceremony begins. As statues shine and laughter echoes, Kane finds himself before the gods, who call him by his old name. They explain his reincarnation was due to his heroic death, which wasn't necessary, as the criminal would have been caught without his intervention. They apologize for his sudden death, but Kane is grateful for his new life and memories. Each god bestows him with protection and skills, promising to meet again. Back in the temple, Kane is reluctant to reveal his status. Pretending illness, he discovers his magical abilities are astonishingly high, with levels reaching 10, far exceeding the known maximum of 5. Using a status concealment spell granted by the god of creation, he hides his true power. During his 5th birthday dinner, his father Garm instructs him to display his status. The family is astounded by Kane's extraordinary magic and divine protections, yet Garm cautions them to keep it secret to avoid threats to the kingdom. Kane later finds a summoning magic book and attempts to summon a fluffy creature, only to conjure a dangerous monster. In a moment reminiscent of his past, he leaps to protect Rain and Parma from the monster, using his magic to banish it back. Though injured, Kane survives, reassured by Rain and Parma's embrace. Determined, Kane resolves to use his powers to protect others and dreams of becoming an adventurer who brings joy to everyone. Observing Kane's enthusiasm, his father decides to hire a tutor. Kane is thrilled by the news, and the maid congratulates him. As he eagerly awaits his tutor, he imagines who it might be, perhaps an orc or a witch. Just then, the maid announces their arrival. Kane, in his excitement, attempts teleportation magic and accidentally falls onto Millie's chest. Mistaking him for a child, Nina thinks he's looking for milk, leading to Kane's embarrassment as he introduces himself to his new teachers, Millie and Nina. In his imagination, Kane recalls an attack that led to his reincarnation and the god's gift of level 10 protection. Despite his noble background, Kane keeps his true power hidden. Millie, feeling formal, introduces herself as a D-rank adventurer and prompts Nina to do the same. Nina, calmer, simply states her name. Kane reveals Nina is an elf, but asks them to be casual, as his father has assigned them to teach him swordsmanship and magic for the next 3 years. They begin swordsmanship training to assess Kane's skills. Millie instructs him to swing his sword, and he performs like an expert, astounding everyone with his prowess, especially given his age. Even Nina acknowledges Kane's superior skill. When he mentions undergoing baptism recently, Millie is shocked and proposes a mock test with wooden swords. Kane effortlessly dodges Millie's attacks, prompting Nina to inquire about his status, to which he responds that his father has forbidden him from revealing it. Exhausted from the sparring, Millie hands Kane over to Nina for magic training. Despite the sword fight, Kane appears unfazed, unlike Millie. When Nina starts with basic magic, Kane surprises her by demonstrating advanced spells like Water Ball, Fireball, and Rocket Bullet, leaving holes in the wall. Millie and Nina are amazed by his ability to perform such high-level magic without incantations, a feat even S-class mages find difficult. Kane's proficiency in all elemental magic and swordsmanship leaves them in awe. Kane then uses a towel to reveal an item box, further shocking his tutors. Realizing they need more space for training, Kane suggests they move outside the mansion. Although his father, Garm, initially hesitates, fearing for Kane's safety and the mansion's integrity, he ultimately grants permission with restrictions. Outside, Nina takes charge of magic training and asks Kane to perform intermediate magic. Overzealous, Kane's fire magic not only knocks him down, but also creates a fiery wave that shatters a large stone, stunning his tutors again with his stamina and magical capacity. Suddenly, they sense danger nearby. A killer rabbit attacks, but Kane easily dodges and kills it with an air bullet. Proud of his first kill, Kane stores it in his item box. Mesmerized by the magic box, Millie dreams of owning a similar magic bag, which requires a hefty amount to collect. The tutors decide to continue hunting, and Nina uses a location spell to detect enemies 300 meters away. Kane, curious, replicates the spell, astonishing them further with his ability to locate and count the monsters. Kane and his tutors encounter killer rabbits and eliminate them. When the last one flees into a hazardous forest, Kane is eager to pursue, but his tutors warn against it due to the danger posed by the forest's monsters. Upon returning home, Kane checks his status and discovers he has reached level 8, a rapid advancement from killing a few killer rabbits. His status shows all elements at level 10, making his abilities potentially problematic if discovered by others. Deciding to focus on becoming an adventurer, Kane brushes off his concerns. The next day, his tutors take him to the guild to learn about stronger monsters. Although too young to register officially, Kane impresses the guild receptionist. A C-rank adventurer interrupts and mocks Millie, demanding she serve him. Nina defends Millie, leading to a confrontation where Kane effortlessly defeats the adventurer, showcasing his incredible speed and strength. This display further cements his reputation as a prodigious fighter. After 3 years, Kane's tutors announce the end of their contract. The maid suggests extending it, but Kane declines, preferring they remain free. Before their farewell, Kane ventures into the threatening forest and defeats a blood ogre and an earth dragon to craft magic bags. Returning with his spoils, he presents the bags to his tutors, who are astonished by their capacity, far exceeding normal magic bags and resembling national treasures. Despite their limited teaching, Kane has immense respect for them. They part with affectionate farewells, promising to help Kane whenever he needs them. The story proceeds with Kane, who fights a giant dragon slayer, which is much bigger than him. But Kane is strong and brave, and he defeats the dragon slayer by stabbing it with his sword. After winning, Kane checks his magical powers and is surprised to see that his level is over 80 million. A god gave him extra powers, but he decides to keep it a secret because it might be dangerous if anyone finds out. 2 years later, when Kane is 10, he and his family move to the capital city. There, Kane needs to prepare for school, but he must wait until he's 12 to go. His older sister Rain is excited for him, but Kane is more focused on the journey to the capital. Kane asks his dad how long it will take, and his dad says about a week. Kane uses his magic to see if there are any monsters nearby and finds out that soldiers are fighting monsters 3 miles away. Kane's dad is amazed that Kane can see so far with his magic and tells the guards to hurry to help the soldiers. But Kane thinks they won't make it in time, so he uses wind magic to run fast like lightning and goes to help alone. His dad and sister are worried, but Kane wants to save the soldiers. When Kane gets there, he sees monsters attacking the soldiers. The soldiers are protecting a special carriage. Even though they think Kane is too young, Kane uses his air cutter and air bullet magic to defeat the monsters. He then uses his sword to finish off the last ones. The soldiers are surprised but thankful that Cain helped them. Cain heals the wounded soldiers with his magic and tells them to rest and eat. Cain's dad arrives and is amazed to see that the monsters are defeated. He also sees that the carriage belongs to a duke. Two princesses, Teluskia and Silk, come out of the carriage. They thank Cain for saving them and are very impressed by him. They want Cain to ride in their carriage because they're still scared. Even though Cain is embarrassed, he agrees. In the carriage, the princesses sit close to Cain, making him feel awkward. They ask him to call them by their names with love, but Cain is shy. When they arrive at an inn, the princesses ask Cain to stay with them at night because they are scared of being attacked. Cain's dad agrees because it seems safer, but Cain makes them promise to keep their beds far apart. But the princesses move their beds closer to Cain, so he ends up sleeping between them and doesn't get any sleep. The next day, they reach the royal capital. The princesses hold Cain's hands and introduce him to Dame von Gazard, a royal knight. The knights tell how Cain defeated 50 orcs and healed them. Dame thanks Cain and takes care of the knights' bodies so they can be buried properly. Cain is tired but follows Dame to meet the king. At the court, everyone is amazed by Cain's bravery. The king is so impressed that he makes Cain a baron and gives him 10 platinum coins. Some people don't think a boy should get such a high title, but the king says Cain deserves it for saving the princesses and defeating the orcs. In the parlor, the king and his advisors talk about how Cain is very special. The king even suggests that Cain should be engaged to one of the princesses. Both princesses want to be engaged to Cain, so they decide he can be engaged to both. Cain is surprised and doesn't know what to say, but he agrees because it's a great honor. The princesses are very happy, and the king and Eric thank Cain again. Cain's dad is proud, but also a little worried about the engagement because Cain is still young. Cain promises to do his best and behave properly. So Cain becomes a baron and is engaged to 2 princesses, all while being just 10 years old. He has many new responsibilities, but he's ready for the challenge. This is the end of the video. Subscribe to the Anime Sphere Recaps channel for more anime recaps.